allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody tonight. I'm going to read the warrant to you. It says, "To Peter Cody, a resident of the town of Waterboro in the county of York and the state of Maine, greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby commanded to notify and warn the inhabitants of said Waterboro qualified to vote into town affairs to assemble at the Waterboro Town Office Meeting Room in said town on Tuesday, June 28, 2011 at 6 p.m. Then and there to act on the following articles, to wit. Article 1 is to elect a moderator to preside over the meeting tonight. Do I have a nomination?
I nominate Robert Powers.
Second motion.
And can I get 3 votes? They have to be paper votes. Those that have gotten the paper votes, I just need those. Seeing 3 yeses, this means that Robert Powers will be our moderator for tonight.
Guess I'm supposed to swear.
This is only to nominate him. Everything else will come from him. We're going to.
But anybody can vote if they want to.
But why didn't I get that slip?
We only needed 3. If you would like to vote, you're more than welcome to vote.
Okay.
Would you like to vote?
No.
Jeez, I can't even get another vote. I guess I'm supposed to read this. I, Robert Powers, solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof, so help me God. I do swear that I will discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as moderator of this meeting in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the state. So help me God.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think we'll keep this as simple as possible, so I won't go into a whole long list of guidelines for conducting the meeting, other than we'll try to operate by Robert's Rules of Order and the guidelines for Maine town meetings as provided by Maine Municipal Association. And then my guiding, overriding principle is that we'll try to conduct it fairly, smoothly, with courtesy and respect for others. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to ratify $66,000 from overlay to balance out the year ending June 30, 2010. My understanding is that someone from the Finance Committee and someone from the Board of Selectmen are going to make a brief introductory statement. So, somebody want to do that?
The Finance Committee was not given anything until last Friday, so the Finance Committee wasn't even available to meet prior to this town meeting, so
Wasn't the statement then?
that would be my statement. Unless, Diane, if you, I don't know if you knew anything before the rest of us.
Can someone from the Board of Selectmen care to make a statement?
Good evening, thank you for coming this evening. I'd just like to explain to you where we are today and why we had to have this special town meeting. First of all, in 2010, we again engaged R.H. Smith Company to do our audit for us. And it took a little bit longer than we anticipated because as we got going into the process, we realized that our books weren't up to date yet. We had to get some help in getting that done, but that caused the audit to take longer than we anticipated. Once the audit was completed just a few weeks ago, just prior to town meeting, we found that in 2010 we had a couple of issues. The first problem was that our projections for the year fell short by about $107,000. and that would be based on revenue sharing that we get from the state government. Excise taxes were down, we were down some property taxes. Fees that we normally charge did not come in as we anticipated, so we did have a shortfall. On the other side of that coin, we did have an overlay that came in that year of $336,000, so that made up for the revenue that we were short in our projections. We also found that we had several departments that were overexpended. The total over expenditures equaled $114,000. However, $66,000 of that was strictly in general assistance. And under state statutes, the selectmen and the town are authorized to overexpend in general assistance. That still leaves us with a difference of about $66,000 that we needed to make up. What we found as we watched the budget throughout the year is that we were doing okay as we approached the end of the year, but once July 1 ran around, we found that we had accruals that came in that equaled just over $60,000. So even though we watched the budget through the year, the accruals that came in at the end of the year is what the biggest part of that shortage was. Recognizing that, we have definitely taken some steps to make sure that that won't happen again in the future. We have recently amended our budgeting process so that we're sure that we're going to be having quarterly budget meetings with all department heads, and department heads are going to be required to fill out some paperwork. It's submitted to the board at those quarterly meetings. We are going to be having year-end projections done more often. We're going to have the auditors coming in to do our pre-audit a lot sooner than they have in the past. And we're going to be dedicated next year to ensuring that our audit is done by early fall as opposed to a couple of weeks prior to town meeting. Certainly the board acknowledges that this should not have happened. We've taken steps to make sure that it does not happen again in the future. It's not something that we find acceptable, and we certainly are apologetic for it. What we're here to do tonight is we need to ratify the 2010 budget to $66,000. If the budget does not pass tonight, if folks vote no, then that $66,000 has to come out of this coming fiscal year's budget.
I'd entertain a motion on Article 2 then, please.
Make a motion that the article go as printed and it be a secret ballot.
Okay,
Be
and
approved as written,
Okay.
be a secret ballot.
moved by Mr. Woodson to approve Article 2 as written, which is to ratify $66,000 from overlay. Is that motion seconded?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mrs. Cody. And there's been a request for a written ballot. We'll entertain a motion to that, to do it by written ballot.
I'll make a motion that it be a written ballot.
Okay, seconded, moved by Mr. Woodson, seconded by Mrs. Cody. Those in favor, please show your pink card so we can know you're a citizen. Those opposed? Motion is carried, and we'll proceed now with voting.
This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put pens and paper on each side of the tables. Only one ballot will be allowed to go in the box at one time. But if you give me a second to do this, then we'll double check the box to make sure it's empty and lock it.
Yeah, that would be no discussion.
No discussion?
Not when it's secret ballot, all discussion stops automatically.
Did you have to?
Well, no, that's not right. We can have discussion, yes.
No, you can't. No, when it's secret ballot, everything stops.
Why wasn't that explained then?
Yeah.
It's discussed.
Yeah,
That's not true. There can still be discussion.
yeah, I'm going to rule that we can discuss it, even though it's going to be by secret ballot.
Absolutely.
Okay, is there any discussion? Mrs. Cody.
Tammy Jo, you mentioned that $66,000 of that came out of the general assistance as of 6/30/10, because those numbers aren't.
No, there was, hold on a moment. Pull up my sheet here. There was $114,236 total that was overexpended. And specifically where that came from was roughly 10,000 was out of insurance, 10,718 was from the library, roughly 19,000 from Parks and Rec, 5,000 from Public Safety.
I understood it to be general assistance.
There is a pool that is general assistance, and that pool that's general assistance is 47,952. That's what was overexpended. But out of that 114, you take back out the general assistance piece, and that leaves a balance of just about $66,000.
Okay, and why was it at any given time during the fiscal year when you were approached by taxpayers about the over expenditures that something wasn't done right then and there?
We do not have line item budgeting. We have overall budgeting. And so while there might have been some line items that looked like that appeared short, there were other items that were to the positive. And even our auditors, when they came in and did the pre-audit, said we were going to be fine up through the end of the year.
But that's for department specific, correct?
We can move the monies around however is necessary within leading up to town
But
meeting.
at town meeting, we vote by department. I've got the minutes for last June's
Correct,
town meeting.
but the charter allows us to move those funds around, and it doesn't specifically relate to departments.
So it doesn't matter how the townspeople vote at town meeting.
Well, I think that as elected officials, we are cognizant of how people vote at town meeting, but when the end of the year comes, if there's an opportunity to move monies around so that we stay within budget, that's what the board does, and that's not just this board, it's what boards have done in all years past.
So further discussion. Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, as I understand it, a lot of especially the roads and bridges, money was frozen. And it hasn't been allowed, the road commissioner hasn't been allowed to spend anything. This money is $50,000. Has it been taken from that department to get over this hump?
This is the 2010 fiscal year budget, not the current fiscal year budget we're in. So this would be the budget that ran July 1, 2009 to June 30 of 2010. I think the $50,000 that you're talking about, Willis, is in this current fiscal year.
Well, why was that frozen?
When we thought we were getting tight on funds, then we started reeling in some spending. But since then, we've had the pre-audit done, and I know that there is some road work that is being done.
That's right, especially if you, usually in the spring of the year is when you go ahead and scrape these dirt roads and get all these potholes in them. And if you don't do it in the spring, you're going to have them all summer long.
Yeah. But this is funds that were in the 2010 fiscal year.
So further discussion.
I'm pleased.
Just state your name, please.
Paul Kussman. I'm no stranger to town politics. I was a former member of the first Charter Commission, which was a successful commission. I served on the Finance Committee, and I'm a former head of the Transfer Station Committee. So I have bowed out of politics until tonight. I found it necessary to come back. I acknowledge that the selectmen take responsibility for this. I acknowledge your statements that it shouldn't have happened, but I don't have any faith that it will not happen in the future. The accountability in this town has been lacking on the financial management side for years. We have the same basic personnel managing our system. And I'm pleased that you all take responsibility. But I have doubts that this is going to be carried out. We haven't got 2010 audit done yet. We're not going to have 2011 audit done until October. We had a meeting, I saw it at a meeting televised, where it was asked, why is the money for Camp Road just being acknowledged now? We had it since November. Why hadn't we been told? So your accountability system is lacking. It will continue to be lacking until you commit to major changes in your structure at Town Hall. Our taxes are increasing. Our services are being reduced. We can't come to Town Hall on Mondays anymore. And we come, there's a long line. At a time when the town is going to be increased in their pressure for finances with the reduction in federal and state, it's all filtering down to the towns, and we don't have the money. All the more important that every friggin' cent, I'm sorry I used that word, I apologize, that we spend, you know it's being spent, you know when it's being spent. If a budget for a department head is over, what do you do at home? You stop spending? Who is managing the system? That's the question I have. And until you all individually commit to a town manager type of government where we know who's responsible, I have no faith. I have no faith that you continue with an accountable financial system.
Some further discussion.
Well, I'd like to hear what the answer is. There was a
Well, if they
question.
want to answer, they can raise their hands.
I guess I didn't hear the question, I heard
The
statements.
question will be, do you commit yourself to a town manager form of government?
That would have to be done by the Charter Commission.
No, you can make the selectmen can make recommendations to the Charter Commission.
There is a Charter Commission in place right now, and they have been working through changes to the charter, and when they come forward with their recommendations,
So your answer is no.
I would not support it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Foglio.
The money's to be taken out of the 2010, 2011 overlay. Is that correct?
Or the 2010, correct. There was an overlay of over $300,000, so the funds will come out of that overlay that was collected during the 2010 fiscal year.
I can't understand how you can do that, because that money's already gone into surplus. I thought the money was going to come out of the 2010, 2011 overlay. If it's coming out of the 2009, 2010 budget, it's got to come out of surplus, not out of overlay, because the overlay's already been committed to surplus. If it's going to come out of the 2010, 2011 overlay, my only question is, how much were the abatements in 2010, 2011, and how much do we have in uncollected taxes? And if you add them up to the 65,000, does that come to more than our overlay commitment? If it does, we don't have money enough in the overlay to do it. That's all. I just wanted to make sure that we was. You understand that?
Yeah.
And I think in the auditor's report, you'd see that there's, you know, kind of going by memory here, but we were, $244,000 remained in the overlay, okay, after all abatements were taken out of that, and the overs and unders, okay? So ultimately, if you look at the auditor's report, we grew the fund balance, even after we take all of the pluses and the minuses out, with the overlay that was in there. So, and I think technically, we can argue whether it's already committed to surplus or not. I mean, ultimately, the books are clean. I think what we're trying to do here is a ratification of the expenditures of those monies, and it would be out of that overlaid money.
So, are you telling us that
Okay, just everybody come through me, okay? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you telling us that the overlay is going to come out of the year ending, the money's for 2009, 2010 tax year?
Yeah, it would be out of FY10.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anybody else who hasn't spoken the first time yet, then we'll, right. Mrs. Fay?
Is that legal? Is that legal to do that?
Don't ask me.
It is. I mean, this is what our town attorney has told us we need to do in order to ratify the books for the 2010 fiscal years, have the special town meeting to address the over expenditures, where are the funds going to come from, and then have a vote. And if the vote is to ratify the 2010 audit, or the 2010 budget, then that's where the money comes from. If the vote is to not ratify and not approve the article tonight, then according to the town attorney, those monies have to come out of this fiscal year. So we would have to find $66,000 in this current fiscal year's budget, so that at the end, you are all balanced.
Exactly what the promise went overage in 09-010.
Most of them. Oh.
There was $10,000 in insurance, $10,718 in the library, $18,863 in Parks and Rec, $4,000 in public safety, $22,000 in the transfer station, $4,500 in municipal buildings, and $42,000 in general government, but a portion of that $42,000 was general assistance. So general government actually finished $5,000 to the good, except when you back out general assistance, it looks like it's $42,000 on the shy end.
Further discussion, anybody who hasn't already spoken? Just state your names, please.
My name is Ethel Dyer. Are we absolutely certain that this is not happening again in the fiscal year that ends this month?
We have had the auditors come in again and do a pre-audit prior to the town meeting, and the auditor said that we are in healthy financially this year. He did make some recommendations so that we're sure that this doesn't happen again in the future, and some of those recommendations we'll be implementing so that we're sure that it doesn't. But the auditor says that we are sound, we are financially sound. We met with the department heads well over a month ago, and we told them that we wouldn't have any more spending going out to the end of the year unless it was first approved by the town administrator, so that we were sure we wouldn't be ending the year with any accruals like we did in 2010. We know that there's going to be bills that are coming in after July 1st, but we put measures in place this year to control, so we're not looking at $60,000 worth of bills coming in after July 1.
You know at this point, basically, what those bills are.
We have a good idea.
Are you absolutely certain that you're not over this year?
I am very confident.
Anybody who hasn't spoken the first time yet? Okay, we'll go around again.
I'd just like to follow up on Mr. Foglio's comment about the overlay, because I have a feeling my taxes are going to go up because of this. If I'm correct, we're taking the overlay out of last year's budget. That means we'll have less surplus to carry over for this year. Is that correct? Okay. We'll have less money for overlay in setting this year's budget, and therefore our taxes are going to go up. Am I correct or am I wrong? Indirectly, our taxes are going to be affected, because if overlay is a percentage of your total budget and you need to keep some on the side, we're going to have to raise $66,000 to keep us on an even flow. Am I correct or wrong?
Well, I think it's built into the tax rate, if I might address the answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. In this current fiscal year, there's $369,000 in overlay. That's above and beyond what was appropriated at town meeting.
Right.
And what was required to pay county tax and schools and everything else. It's a percentage of the gross amount needed. It's built into virtually every single tax rate that we've made.
Right.
The overlay that was made in fiscal year 2010, all right, was $340,000, okay? That is ultimately, Doug is right, in theory, that money runs into surplus, so whether you call it surplus or using that that overlay money, it's one and the same money. It would have run into unappropriated surplus, all right? The tax rate year that we're in currently is already a fixed number. the monies that was raised at town meeting 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, also had a fixed amount of money that was built into unappropriated surplus usage, okay? So as we get into this tax year, and tax commitment year, I don't think it's going to be any different than any other tax commitment year. We will build X amount of dollars into the overlay. We're required, or we are controlled by the state law that allows us only to add 5% of the total commitment, all right? We have stayed away from the 5%. We've been as low as 2, we've been as high as 4.5, okay, over the last 5 or 6 years. Certainly, there are people that would suggest you always keep it to the high side so that there's a cushion, all right? So I don't see us going into this current tax commitment year saying, oh, gee, we had the 66,000. If anything, the fund balance, which is $2.4.5 million, goes to 2.4, okay? Or 2.4 less than the 66,000. So the fund balance ultimately will come down. That auditor's report already shows that, okay? It was debited down. It still grew in FY10, all right? And we fully expect that it will grow this current fiscal year as we close out the books on Friday, or on Thursday, at midnight.
Question?
Go ahead, continue on.
Can I follow up? I still don't understand. We're carrying over less, if we approve this tonight, we'll be carrying over less surplus or overlay by the amount of 66,000. Is that correct?
That's right.
This is not free money. It's not falling from the
And what it
federal
does,
government.
Paul, is as I explained a minute ago, is that we have a fund balance. In this town, it's
Right.
$2.4 million, okay? That fund balance will come down. 5 years ago, it was $3 million,
Right.
okay? And with all of the reductions in revenue stream, we have worked it down to about 2.4 million, right? That's what will be affected by this vote. All right, if it's not affected by this vote, then the current fiscal year, we will have to determine how that $66,000, what that comes out of. So 66 will not be spent somewhere else.
Mrs. Cody?
I just wanted to elaborate for that young lady over there regarding their commitment that they can guarantee that it won't happen again. It's just a reminder of a few months ago, we had to have yet another special town meeting to give a certain department $60,000, or I forget the exact amount, but up to $60,000 because he had overspent his allocated budget.
In this fiscal
In
year.
this fiscal year, yes.
Mrs. Spade?
So bottom line, to make it simple, if it's defeated, where does the money come from? If it's passed, where does the money come from? Bottom line, make it simple, please.
If it passes, we reduce the $2.4 million surplus that we have by $60,000. If it doesn't pass, we reduce the plans for goods and services for the upcoming year by $66,000.
Historically,
State your name, please, just so that they
sorry,
can...
Brenda Robert. Historically, certain organisations here are over budget. Now, what's going to change them? They do it every year.
Mrs. Director?
Dennis, were you going to say something?
Well, I think that one of the things that's happening here, all right, is that, and you're absolutely right, historically, over the past, there's always been a little fat in every single department's budget. I think because of what's been going on in the economy in the last, I know what's been going on in the economy the past few years, when we built the budget, we have cut virtually all of that out. And if you look at, departments like tax collector and treasurer and whatnot, we are budgeting to the dollar of what their salaries, insurances, and everything else is being budgeted to. So there's not $1,000 extra in that account at the end of the year. All right? So in the past, where we might have had a little fat that would have carried us over, or absorbed some of the negative or over expenditures in various other accounts. It's not there anymore. We're budgeting down to a very, very basic, we'll call it a bare bones number, okay? Somebody would argue that it's not a bare bones number. But I can tell you, going through it in the last 3 or 4 years, we have not built any buffers in any budgets. And now, when you get down so that there is a glitch and something happens, then that's gonna come back and we're gonna have to manage that.
But if you appoint somebody to be a supervisor or a manager, then they should come to you when these things are not working out and redo their budget so that they can cut corners and come around to it. Otherwise, what's the point in having people in managerial positions?
I agree.
Wait, can you respond for you?
Are all of their incomes, are they frozen? Or are they going to get raises and cost of livings and so on and so forth?
No raises in this year's budget.
I mean, we've got more selectmen than we ever had. We seem to be in a bigger hole than we ever were.
I wouldn't say that. I think there's been some holes in previous...
I don't think I've ever seen this many people in it.
In previous boards, I think there's been a lot of holes.
But I have never seen this many people, so it's obviously a concern to most of the people.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, it was mentioned that the transfer station was $16,000 over budget. Now, there was income that come in down there. Is that over and above what income come in down there from those things on your car and other things you do? Or is it that money goes into the pot and you're saying that the transfer station is overspent? To me, that is the way I can do my business. If I have business and I have income, and if I have my income that's over my business, then you have a profit. And the same thing should be with the transfer station. They must get more money than what that $16,000 overdraft. And I think that's wrong. It's wrong. Heaven's sake. That department should be overdrafted. It's that money that they're taking in, they should take that in and put it down to the department, and then the overhead, if there's an overdraft after the money that comes in, then that's something everybody should start hollering. But I don't like the way this thing's going at all. I think it's terrible to see that we had 4 or 5 departments or 6 departments that were overdraft. It bothers me. Over all the years I've been in the town, I hate to have this happen, and it seems to be something is radically wrong.
Did you want to, saw some hand here. Dennis, did you want to speak or? No, okay. Mrs. Fay?
Did I get my question answered? Bottom line, if we defeat it, where does the money come from? If it's passed, where does it come from? I just want to hear that, please. Explain that, please.
Okay, I think it was answered, but would you try again?
Dennis was the one that answered it.
No, John, but I'll give it my shot, all right, if that's any better. The bottom line is that in the auditor's report today, it shows it coming out of the overlay.
For what?
Okay,
Defeating
for fiscal year 2010. All right? So ultimately, if it passes the way that we presented it tonight, the only thing that changes is that the cash fund balance will go down from what we anticipated it was, all right, going into FY11. If it gets defeated tonight, as John said, there's $66,000 of goods and services that will not be spent in this fiscal year, in the next fiscal year.
So it comes out of 10, 11,
It'll come out of 12.
11, 12.
Right.
Mr. Woods?
Wayne Woodson, by state law, it does say that you can do that. And by state law, the townspeople, the residents, can file suit against the selectmen. And this is all by state law. And make them write the check out for $66,000. The 5 selectmen that was in office at the time. That is a possibility that the residents can do and send it through the court system. But when you get all done, you're probably going to spend the $66,000 fighting.
Somebody else? Yes, ma'am.
What was the special town meeting, what department needed 60,000 extra at the special town meeting a month ago, the lady down here? Question.
This is
It was Parks and Rec. Evidently, Mrs. Cody thinks this is a big joke, and she seems to be laughing at it all. But the fact of the matter is that we knew that we were overexpended, and we allowed, part of the special town meeting allowed future revenue. We had a fixed number of $121,000 that he could spend in revenue streams that was coming in, all right? We bumped that up by $40,000. Can tell you that he's exceeded that revenue stream, all right? And we also had an allowance of up to $20,000 in surplus. We will not have to use the $20,000 in surplus to carry him through. So it would appear, as of tonight anyway, that his revenues have been sufficient to cover the expenses of his department, along with the taxes that were raised back at town meeting. I think it was $46,000.
So what was the 60,000 for?
It was a total of $60,000 to allow his spend to go up by a total of $60,000.
So we overspent in 2009, 10 by 14,000, and then this year by 60,000.
Had nothing to do with what he overspent in 2010.
No,
right?
I'm just saying, 2 years in a
Yep.
row, he was allowed to overspend 14 and then overspend 60.
He hasn't overspent this year because we had a special town meeting to make an adjustment to his budget.
But if it hadn't passed,
If it hadn't passed, we would have closed
so
down
he didn't
Parks and
stay
Rec.
within the budget that was given at the original town meeting, is my question. He overspent by 60 from the original town meeting.
Well, he hasn't overspent by 60, but it's by some number, you're right.
I know.
Mrs. Gerard.
Just to explain that a little bit further, when the Parks and Rec budget was set, it was anticipated that there was going to be a certain amount of money taken in for revenues, and that he would spend those revenues on programs. Started a new program, and the revenues came in, and we found that with that new program, there was some additional cost. But he was also taking in more money because he had this program going. So the portion of that special town meeting, because the town said he can only spend $121,000 from revenues, that special town meeting was, he's going to exceed $121,000 in revenues. We believe it's going to be 152, and I'm kind of going off of memory here. So we wanted him to be able to spend the additional revenues that he's taken in.
That's 32,000.
So the revenues that he anticipated taking in, he has taken in, and that's what was approved at that special town money, was, at that meeting, was to spend those additional revenues that he was taking in.
So everything he spent was brought in revenues, so the town did not actually appropriate $60,000 at that.
There was there was also $15,000 for the fire department as part of that special town meeting, because they have the per diem staff, which funds which mans the rescue. Their demand for service has gone up this year. They weren't going to have enough money to see them through to the end of the year manning the rescue, so another piece of that special town meeting was to fund the staffing for the rescue. So it was 3 pieces of that special town meeting. One was to take some money for the EMS, for the rescue department. One was to allow Parks and Rec department to spend the additional revenues that they were taking in on the Parks and Rec program. And we also said we're going to take $20,000 in case the Parks and Rec budget goes over. So we've got that cushion there for Parks and Rec. With what he's taken in to date, we're not going to have to get into that $20,000. He's actually going to finish the year, this year, with a positive. So he'll have taken in more than he expended.
And the
Further discussion.
20,000 is sitting there.
Folks, you got to come through me, okay? Further discussion. Anybody who hasn't spoken a first time yet? Some people have gone 4 or 5 times. Okay, ma'am.
Can I ask you what program that was that the Parks and Rec was going to make a profit on it?
Well, it'll be the department as a whole. There's a number.
It wasn't the unlicensed daycare center, was it?
Well, we don't have an unlicensed daycare. We have a program that's called Funergy, and the Funergy is a Parks and Rec program.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this.
Is that from another community?
It's from another community.
Yep. And they were not doing that under the auspice of their Parks and Rec department. They were doing it in another
So we're
meeting.
fully insured.
We have checked with the state and confirmed that we are all set,
And we're fully insured.
and we have
You
also.
folks, you gotta come through me, okay?
And
This-
we also
Trying to
have
get your second,
party
hold on, whoa. You're trying to get your little second in here, whatever. Come through me and I'll give everybody an opportunity, but I'm not gonna have this dialogue going on just between everybody. Go ahead, Mrs. Girard, if I cut you off. Okay, Mr. Crispin.
I'd like to follow up on Mr. Woodson's statement. We don't, everyone should vote their conscience tonight, and no one expects any of you to go to jail. That's not the reason why we're here. We do expect better financial accountability. Do you get that? Better management accountability. You're managing with your hands tied behind your back. You're not getting information. You're not getting analysis that you need to make policy decisions. You know that. You know that. We need better financial management and accountability. And Mr. Moderator, I haven't heard of any steps that convince me that this is not going to happen again and again and again.
All I'll say is it's not my job to make sure they are. Mr.
But
Littlefield.
that's our job to address you.
Is it Mrs. Roberge? Okay, I want to make sure that I get this right. The monies that we were talking about in Parks and Rec it wasn't appropriated through taxation. It's the amount of money that he took in, and the town meeting only authorized him to expend $121,000 of the amount that he took in. When these programs came to fruition, obviously we found that there were other expenses associated with that. But to date, he has collected $162,000. That's why he's going to be in the good. And the $20,000 that was actually appropriated by town meeting, he's not going to use at all. That's going to be turned back in and go back into,
So it will be 66.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me.
You've got to come through me,
Okay, so it won't be-
and the next time I'm gonna have to ask you to leave if you keep interrupting. I'll give you an opportunity to speak, but you're gonna come through me.
So it won't be...
Be quiet. Continue.
okay, Mr. Moderator, would it be kind of you to ask Ms. Roberge to give me the second part of her question?
Yes.
Okay. So it won't be 66, it'll be 42,000 that you'll be over?
We're confusing the matter.
You're confusing 2
Yeah.
years.
Well, no, he said he'd be returning the 20,000 that he was over. I'm sorry.
No, it's not over. Originally, when we started looking at it, there was the probability that he may need $20,000 appropriated from surplus in order to carry him through. As the end of the year is progressing, he does not need that money at all. He's going to be turning that back in. It was just a safety net that we put in place. We don't need it anymore. So it'll be turned back in. I just wanted to try to clear up.
Mrs. Girard.
I think maybe we're getting off track here, and we're kind of getting into a conversation now where we're dealing with two separate issues. What we're here tonight is for $66,000 for fiscal year 2010. That has nothing to do with the $20,000 that Parks and Recs is going to be turning back in. That has to do with the current fiscal year. I think that's a conversation we need to stop having because it's not germane to the special town meeting. The question was asked, and I think that's how we kind of got off on the wrong track. But what we're here to address is the $66,000 for the fiscal year 2010, and that has nothing to do with the special town meeting that we had back a few months ago.
Okay, I got Mr. Lloyd, then I get Dave Woodson, then I get Dwayne Woodson.
Go ahead, Bob.
What I would like to know, what happened to the income that they did at the transfer station? Was that going to surplus and then we're overdrawn by $16,000? Is that what happened? Yes or no?
Yep. Yes.
That's
But
ridiculous.
the-
That's ridiculous.
Go ahead, Mr.
That's really
The transfer station was able to spend X number of dollars in 2010. They exceeded what they were supposed to spend by $22,000.
And they didn't get $22,000 in income for the whole year to take care of that. I bet it held a lot more than that.
You talking net or gross?
What's that?
Are you talking net income or gross income?
That income. When they bring in bring in old tires and all the things like that, that's an income, there's no expense there. The expense that goes out. But there's certainly enough income coming in to make up this $16,000 that they were run over. Nobody can make me believe anything different. That it's just ridiculous.
Dave Woodson.
Fortunately, I was not a part of this problem. But I will say this to the concerns of the citizens, that we know there's a problem, okay? We know we need accountability. And we have taken and will follow up on actions that will certainly reduce and we hope eliminate the problem we've had for several years. And I will say personally that if it isn't remedied, then somebody's going down the road. All right? We hear you.
Dwayne Woodson.
My motion is to end discussion, go to vote.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion's been moved to cease discussion. In order for that to work, you need to have a 2/3 vote, and then there would be no further discussion after that. We'll move immediately to voting, and I'll explain the voting if that motion passes. So it's been moved by Mr. Woodson to cease discussion. Who seconded it? Mrs. Cody. No discussion on that. Those in favor of ceasing discussion, please show your cards. Those opposed? Then you voted to cease discussion. We'll now proceed with the written ballot for the original question, which is to see if the town will vote to ratify $66,000 from overlay to balance out the year ending June 30, 2010. If you wish to do that, check the yes box. If you do not wish to do it, check the no box. When you come up, you've got one of these cards. Please show it to Yvette so that she'll know that only people who have been checked in are so voting. Are you clear on how you vote? Then I'll declare the voting open, and
Just as a reminder, only one vote will go in the box, so you've got to bring your own votes up. Diane, can you help count?
David?
So there were 34. Okay, there were 34 votes cast, there were 14 yes, 20 no, 0 blank. Declare the motion did not carry. Now entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Gale, seconded by Mrs. Gerard to adjourn. No discussion on...
Could I ask a question regarding the time frame for the posting of this meeting? Our charter says...
Why don't we adjourn and have all the discussion you want? It's not my prerogative.
Well, we still have a meeting too after.
Okay. So let's vote first and then do whatever you want. Okay, those in favor of adjourning the meeting, signify by, I guess, show of hands here. Those opposed, I'll declare the meeting adjourned at 6:57. Okay, now do whatever you want, because it's not my meeting
Could
anymore.
I ask the chairman of the selectmen? The charter says 7 days are needed to post for a special town meeting. We are having this town meeting after it's posted only 6 days.
It was posted last Tuesday. It was posted here at Town Hall. It was posted online and the newspaper.
It was posted Tuesday after you voted for a special town meeting.
I was under the impression that it wasn't even signed until Wednesday.
No, we signed on Wednesday. So that would have been Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday is day 7, that's not before town meeting.
The town attorney was in and we talked to him and he said we were fine.
Well, just because the town attorney says it's fine, that's not our charter. Our charter says 7 days before.
I would hope that our town attorney is well versed in our charter.
Well, I'll beg to differ on that, because the charter says 7 days before, and this wasn't 7 days before.
Tammy, why wasn't it posted out here on the board? I go by that sign 3 or 4 times a day, some days, and I didn't see it up here until today. And it's only on one
It
side.
got posted out front. I know that it was.
What about the
posted out
sign
front.
right out here, the sign out
Oh,
front?
that I don't know.
It's been on the other side.
Was it then?
I know, but what,
So it's been on one side, not two sides.
and you have
And
meetings
it's
at
at-
you have meetings at 6 o'clock at night, people are still coming home from work. Why was it changed from 7 to 6?
It was changed a number of years ago.
I know, not a
And you know
number of
what?
years ago.
I'm glad I did.
We still don't have any more participation at 6 o'clock than we did at 7 o'clock.
Well, with what's going on, maybe there will be from now on.
We welcome it.
We have half as many people at the special town meeting as we had at the whole town meeting 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Exactly, so everybody's interested.
Yeah, they're interested, half as many people are interested in this little one segment than they were in the entire budget.
Over in the other half don't know about it.
That's probably true.
Moving on, we have new business, discuss and vote abatements. And in our packet, we had 6 abatements this week. We had numbers 11, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 10, 22, and 23.
I move that we accept the recommendations to give the abatement.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you, Bob.
Next, discuss vote, or discuss the hiring process for our assistant. Bob, could I just ask you to please close that door? So the applications for the new assistant's position, deadline was last Friday. We've taken 67?
No, 49 and 50.
4950 applications in for that position. We need to move on getting that filled. I would suggest that we use the same procedure that we did when we hired the town clerk recently, where we have the members of the town hiring panel, 2 selectmen, the town administrator. I think that worked out quite well, having a panel
That
of
was the
5.
whole, how many people have we got on the hiring panel now?
There's 2, maybe 3.
Okay. So, I don't think you need to have 6 people interviewing. If you had a couple people from the hiring panel, a couple, 1 or 2 selectmen and the administrator, you get 4 or 5 people, that's it. It comes before the board for a final anyway.
So is everybody agreeable to using the same process we used for the,
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
work faster than the last time, but
Yep.
we're gonna do it.
all right, so who are the 2 selectmen that want to participate?
I'll put this over.
David? John, did you want to, or
Oh,
Gordon?
I will. David and Gordon.
David and Gordon? So you guys work with Nancy and get that squared away. All right. Next, discuss vote on Charter Review Commission extension request. Just make sure that didn't sound very good.
I think somebody pulled down one.
Yeah, a little too hard. We have a request from the Charter Review Commission to extend the date. So far, they have held 14 meetings of the commission, including a public hearing, met with town committees, the Board of Selectmen, the town administrator, and town attorney. And they're requesting that we extend the time to the November 2012 election. It's a pleasure of the board.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right. Next would entertain a motion to assign warrants for bills and payroll. And I will say, under the payroll, there is one that Nancy has flagged for $2,216, and that would be number 13524. To pull that for reconsideration. Nancy hadn't approved that expenditure as of yet.
No, I wanted to know, I didn't see any request of if it's automatic, because I didn't know we requested automatic before, and it hasn't taken place. So I was just curious why on this one.
So you're recommending we put that off for a week? That one?
You can vote and to hold that until we get an answer.
So I will move that we accept that, except for that one item, and that hold that for till next week.
Is there a second?
what are we voting on now?
Bills and payroll.
I understand that,
There
but
was the one that you
are we
asked about.
voting to pass all the others with the exception of that
With
one?
the exception to that one.
Okay,
Yep.
that's, all right, that's fine.
So it's motion and seconded. All those in favor? And we do not have minutes, pending decisions, public service announcement, performance bond, and committee self-eval. The week's action list, discussion of agenda items for next week. We have the Ross Corner Road name request is coming up again. We were going to revisit standardized training, but I think we're going to actually put that off till August now because of the department head meeting. Tuck that one down. Committee attendance goals and how to run meetings at the request of John. We wanted to have a discussion about Ospey Tower, and we have an executive session regarding general assistance. It's the new fiscal year, so we'll also have election of selectmen's chair for the new year. Anything else?
We need to go over what we're going to do with the $66,000 out of this upcoming budget.
Yeah, because you only got,
We need to get a clarification whether it's out of the current fiscal year budget that we're in.
when I
or-
talked to Ken, it was this fiscal year. It would have to balance out of this fiscal year.
This fiscal year.
This one currently, so, okay, that's not going to put us over.
Well, according to Chris's numbers, he's showing that we're going to be
Okay, I was thinking it was coming out of the upcoming.
X
No.
amount of dollars to the good, but
Okay.
So do we need to do that before next Tuesday night?
well, I think Nancy and the auditor need to certainly sit down because they have authority from us to do what's got to be done, so.
Well,
And
we'll
we
have
need
it
to
on.
explain exactly
Well-
what was done here. There's got a lot of people that...
Well, I'm sorry. When he came in and met with us, he said with everything, we would probably carry forward 20 grand. So there won't be enough in the budget.
Right.
So we're gonna have to take like $46,000 between now and Thursday.
So I think we need to get together tomorrow night.
I'll have to.
I suggest we get together tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, so all those people that are driving home from work at 6 o'clock can be here.
And I'll just say, I won't be here tomorrow night. David, can you be here
Well,
tomorrow?
whether you meet tomorrow night or Thursday night or whatever, there's not, you're not gonna shut off $66,000.
Even if you shut
worth of expenditure.
everything down,
So
you're not gonna.
we need to get.
So can we do it next Tuesday night?
After Tuesday.
You tell us, Nancy, when does this need to be done? Or do we need to do it,
By
add
June.
it to the agenda and do it tonight?
By June 30th. I mean, Ken was very, very clear on that.
So do we need to add it to the agenda tonight?
Let's do it.
Mhm. We've got a workshop with the road commissioner and with the road review committee, and those folks are here.
I can go try to get a hold of Chris.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get a hold of him. See what he says.
So can we suspend our meeting, have the workshop, and then go back into meeting? Is that proper, Nancy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would it be proper to suspend the current meeting, go into workshop with the road commissioner and the road review committee, and then come back into meeting?
You would be better off to do it all at once instead of bouncing back and forth.
All right. So we should take a recess now then, or?
I'll try to get a hold of him right now.
Okay. So first I need,
There's no reason that we can't go in the workshop.
well, that closes our meeting.
It doesn't need to.
Why can't we discuss it openly with the
Right,
cameras
make a
on?
motion.
Well, no, I mean, well, first of all, I would entertain a motion that we add an agenda item under new business and discuss funding the results of the special